Welcome to Bloodbath TV. Today we're getting chilly with Encino Man, but
John's being weird. What we're actually doing is we're greasing the dewbacks, we're checking out some nugs, and we're wheezing some juice. Buddy? It's been ages since I've revisited a Pauly Shore movie, and Encino Man back in the day was Brendan Fraser in his prime. Throw in some Sean Astin as our main lead, and you've got a star-studded cast that has Dave and his buddy Stone, or Stoney. They're digging a pool in Dave's backyard, and they come across a caveman, or an Encino Man, if you will. Encino, California is where they are, so that's why the movie's called Encino Man, but on Disney Plus, it was called California Man. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They dig up a caveman who was frozen in the Ice Age. He thaws out. He has a wonderful bath. He cleans up, becomes buff.
You are buff.
They call him Link because he's the missing link. And now they want to take him to Encino High School so they can be popular and win over the girls.
All we gotta do is get him enrolled in school and he'll help us become popular.
And now the movie is just a caveman exploring the world.
Flamage.
whoa! Everything that Brendan Fraser does in this film is fantastic. I am a huge fan of his work. It's funny when you see people in like these early films. You got Brendan Fraser going to the convenience store, just wheezing the juice.
Wheeze the juice. No, wheezing the juice.
Creeping over top is Eric Avare. Who would have thought? You see these two in Encino Man, years later, they're in The Mummy together.
And on the reverse side, you have Sean Astin, one of the Goonies, and you see his former Goonies pal, Data. I know him as Short Round from Temple of Doom. And so it is funny just seeing like all these different people that'll have either worked together or will work together in the future.
The biggest shock of people who went on to do things would have been our cave nug. Ends up being Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh yeah, the cave nug. We will get to the breakdown of the movie, and that's the very end of it. There's a cave nug. And there's an early appearance of Robin Tunney, who went on to headline in The Craft. And like a bunch of other movies at the time, like Empire Records and shit. Crazy. Dave's parents don't know who the hell this guy is, and they're just like, oh, he's a foreign exchange student.
What am I supposed to tell the guy? He traveled here all the way from...
I don't know, Estonia?
He is Linkovich something.
Linkovich Chomovsky, our exchange student.
And he just has to slowly kind of integrate into our world now. And I just think that's so cool. And he picks up things really quickly.
Dairy Group. Milk Duds.
He plays a few arcade games and he's doing like stuntman style stunts in a car at driving school.
He's just being himself. If you actually do a deep dive, there is like this overarching story that just says, be yourself. Because like that's all Pauly Shore did and wanted to do. That's all Link wanted to do, and things worked out well for them. Dave, as much as I like Sean Astin, he was just trying too hard and you kind of ended up like not liking him so much.
To the point where he tried to get rid of Link. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna send you on your way because the girl that I was trying to impress likes you. Because you're just this free spirit, nice guy. Where I'm just this stuck-up weirdo who carries a baby picture around so I can say, look, we're naked together.
Nice body.
Yeah, I remember when we were together?
What a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, don't do that. Like you're looking at Matt and you're like, oh, these bullies, they're like dicks.
Shush! Hush, please!
But then you're like, what Sean Astin is doing is kind of creepy, so.
He deserves to be stuffed in at least one locker or thrown onto an ice rink.
And like, Brendan Fraser, he didn't fight him right off the bat, took the punch, walked away.
I'll be back.
He's pulling on your heartstrings throughout this film. Like that moment where they go into the museum, you're shedding tears when you see him trying to start that fire as he realizes everything he once knew is now gone.
I didn't shed any tears for this movie. It's a family movie. It's all fun and games.
It's a sensual movie.
On Disney Plus, it's like, it's got sensual themes or something. It's like, what's sensual about this? And then it opens up with Pauly Shore in a mesh shirt and you're like, oh, that's sensual.
And Brendan Fraser in a loincloth, you're like, oh, things are getting pretty sensual.
Gonzagas.
It is a kid's movie, but there are like more adult themes, I guess. Like even Pauly Shore getting hammered in the coolest bar ever. And they're just like, hey, drink this tequila, guy. You underage guy, drink this. And he's like, okay, where's the worm?
The worm's right there, ain't she?
I'm a weasel.
He takes a few shots, the cops bust in.
We're gonna get busted!
You are busted.
It's
Kids
It's
go
like
and
an
drink.
underground bar.
Like, why not take a period off, have yourself a few shots of tequila, and jump in a conga line for a while?
It's probably the same bar Pee Wee Herman went to on his big adventure. It's fun watching Link's character just like interact and slowly like adapt to like everything around in like 1990s Encino, California.
Looking back and wanting to revisit the 90s, going through the lens of a caveman, it's like, yes, take me to all the cool things. Show me all your weird shaped skateboards. And let's go to a theme park and like experience these rides with him. It's very cool. Even him doing like cave paintings, but with like mustard and ketchup. Love it.
And like everybody loved him. He was like on like the early days of MS Paint. The computer club was like down with him.
The rapper guys liked him.
Oh, they loved him. Everybody just liked him. And I would want to hang with him. I'd want to hang with him and Stoney. I don't know if I'd want to hang with Dave.
Yeah, Dave can be sitting, waiting on his steps as we're out partying. There's also a bad guy. We forgot to mention the bad guy. He's not that important.
Matt?
Yeah, Matt. He's the love interest of Robin, the main girl, who like Dave is trying to get rid of a little bit. Eventually he like breaks into Dave's house, finds pictures of them with the caveman. They reveal that Link is actually a caveman, and he goes and tells everybody. They're like, yeah, that's awesome.
He's a caveman.
That's exactly what I would do, because he's a cool guy. It doesn't matter about his past. It's what he's doing now. Unless he murdered a bunch of people, which I'm sure he did.
Hey, you're stereotyping. You're the Dave. Pauly Shore was like, he's a pacifist.
He's a pacifist.
A pacifist caveman?
Well, there's no way to live back then without murdering everybody.
You keep it tight with your group, and then you go fight the mammoths.
I think you've played too much Joe and Mac for your own good. They even said, you're just like, oh, if he wants a woman, he'll just take it. Thinking of cavemen in general is kind of weird. If you look at any like comics of cavemen and stuff, it was all about just like, I'm gonna bonk this woman over the head and drag her back to my cave. That's kind of fucked.
Is that what the Flintstones did?
I'm pretty sure that's how like Wilma and stuff got involved.
Maybe they just like that Fred would like bring home that giant brontosaurus ribs.
So there's this tiny waitress and she's carrying a rack of ribs so big that they can tip over a car made of stone.
Yeah, he becomes a provider after the fact, but he acquired her not by regular means. How did Link get the girl that he liked here? He picked her up. Well, first he was gonna grab her tits, but he like just picked up this other girl at the bar. He didn't give a shit. He's just straight up taking your women.
She was into him. She was grabbing him in the conga line. Everybody loved Link.
People have grabbed me in a conga line and I didn't turn around and pick them up and just say like, okay, it's time.
So you mean to tell me if that woman in the bar picks you up and sweeps you off your feet, you're not going with her?
What, she's gonna pick me up?
Yeah.
I'm a heavy boy. I'm like pushing 250.
What if she bonks you on the head and like takes you back to her place?
It's a different scenario. Almost all guys are like, yup, I'll go.
This is the problem.
This is a problem. It's a double standard, but it's because men are trash. Even way back then. I can imagine. Imagine you had caveman Twitter.
And then we go back to the Flintstones. It's an actual bird who's tweeting about what they're saying.
This show is quickly just becoming let's manifest it and wish for things. I want Encino Man, but like back in Flintstone days, and not the Flintstone movie with John Goodman. I did like that movie.
You don't want the sequel where they go Viva Rock Vegas. That's the story of how he met Wilma.
That's where they're glamorizing for TV. Maybe we'll get to that one day. This has inspired my appreciation for cavemen and all cave things.
We're squatching and Neanderthaling.
Yeah, that Geico commercial, why was that a thing?
Historically, you guys have struggled to adapt.
Yeah, right. Walking upright, discovering fire.
They made a TV show. Nick Kroll was in it. This is like Nick Kroll's like first gig.
The weirdest thing is feeling like an instant celebrity as a caveman in a way that those people would never think of me as a celebrity.
It was just basically the concept of like the caveman living in modern era.
So it is Encino Man.
But like the cavemen were smart. It was all about them being like segregated from normal people because they were cavemen.
Oh.
But they were like had everyday jobs and talked normal.
These people like to think they're so civilized, but you know what? They're no different than us, just not as good looking.
So imagine poor Link here. Actually, not poor Poor Link. He was not segregated whatsoever. He was embraced, he was loved by the community, everybody enjoyed his company, despite him absolutely destroying Dave's house and stealing Dave's woman, and doing a lot of things that probably would have aggravated me if he was my roommate.
But he didn't steal Dave's woman. See, this is the thing.
You're right.
Link didn't pursue her.
You're the one who wheezed off his gig the whole time, because you thought maybe it'd get you somewhere.
Dave thought like, well, if I'm popular, you just get the girls, not taking their feelings into consideration.
This is my one phone call, and I'm using it to ask you to go to the prom with me.
No. I want to go with Link.
You nailed it on the head though, because like Matt was the popular one in the school and all the girls wanted Matt. Then Link became the popular one in school. All the girls wanted Link.
His name's Link. He's from Estonia and I think he's jive.
Dave was never popular, which is why he never got any girls.
I wasn't really popular in high school. I couldn't do cool flips.
Me and Dustin talked about this the other day. We were so into our own little world that I think we were oblivious if anyone was ever into us, because all we wanted to do was play video games and watch anime. A girl could call us up, be like, hey, do you want to come over and like party at Blades? We'd be like, I don't know. We're probably more interested in playing Power Stones, watching a little Great Teacher Onizuka in Fruits Basket.
I would have been Wheezing the Juice, man.
No, Wheezing the Juice!
Encino Man is a good time for all ages. Revisiting it, it wasn't nearly as funny as I remembered, but I think that's just because comedy has evolved since 1992 or 93 or whatever. Things that I found hilarious when I was 8 to 10 years old are different now, but there are still a lot of really hilarious moments. I thought the whole cast did a great job. Pauly Shore basically ad-libbing everything he said is fantastic, and this movie just made me want to watch more Pauly Shore movies, personally. It's a good movie, it's not a great movie. I think I liked more the nostalgia of this movie more than the movie itself. So I'm gonna give this 3 pickled frogs out of 5.
I completely agree with Jay. This film meant more to me rewatching it because I was such a big fan of it growing up. I want more Brendan Fraser in my life. When we met him in real life, it was one of the best interactions I've ever had at a fan expo. He is the nicest and coolest guy ever. What more can you say when it comes to Pauly Shore? He's very typecasted, and that's what I love, is he plays this character that is entertaining, and the jokes still hit. There's a lot to this film that is not good either. The story is strangely bland. Would I recommend it? Yes, I definitely would recommend this film. It's a fun time. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this movie 3.5 channeling your inner Rudies out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. And if it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything here on Bloodbath TV.
I'll be back.